Thank you all for coming to this session. We are so excited that you're here. My name is Aubrey. I work on the K-12 team at TestOut. But I get to work with these wonderful men on a daily basis. And so I'm excited to be able to hear from them and to hear what they have to say. When we were doing these introductions, I wanted to find a fun fact that was not in their bio to let you know. Zach just found a love for gardening. He right now is doing a salsa garden, right? Tomatoes and peppers and not onions, because you can buy those from the store, is what he told me. And he's also growing a giant pumpkin. He said right now it's the size of a softball, but he's hoping to get it to be larger than Noel's, which was about 700 pounds last year. So, good luck. Dave, I'm going to let Dave demonstrate his talent. He is really good at awkward dad jokes. In any meeting, I'm sorry, Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Any meeting that we do that has like a lull in the meeting, Dave stands up and tells us an awkward dad joke. Who wants to hear one? Thank you. Oh, you have it on your lapel. Anyways, give it up for them, and then Dave will go ahead and start.
Thank you. Thanks, Aubrey. So I'm Dave Alexander. I am Director of Marketing at TestOut. Before I forget, I'll tell you a joke. So this is a really good joke. So there was a baby computer and his father computer. What do you think he liked to call his father? Dad, you can see the awkwardness. It's real. Oh, right. We're really excited about this presentation. I've been with TestOut for 6 years. Actually, when I first started, I was doing recruiting for the company. So I've learned from a perspective of what the employer looks for, what the interview process is like, looking at resumes, and that's something that I'm really passionate about. Whenever we have students that call in that have questions about, hey, I'm certified, how do I use this? I tell support, hey, forward them to me. And I like to just give students pointers and talk to them. This is Zach.
Sorry. Can you hear me? My name is Zach Steele. I've been a part of TestOut for almost 2 years. I'm actually part of the implementation team, a new team that we established relatively at the same time frame that I got brought on. Implementation is here to help assist you in getting your courses built and up and running quick, smooth, and so that you and your students have a very successful first day of class. And so that's been my role so far at TestOut. Today, my role in the presentation is how you can get certifications into your courses, some best practices that I've seen, some situations that I've seen as I've worked with different instructors. This is a video that we have that we want to show you really quick that illustrates some things about certifications.
My name is Gage, and I'm from Defiance, Ohio. I'm Win Fear Vector because I'm a certified PC Pro.
So I don't know if you could hear that very well, but for those of you that are familiar with Fear Factor, it's a show about people that'll go on and they're overcoming their fears. They're asked to eat tarantulas and asked to jump off high things and do things that are intimidating for him. And what's Gage's response is his unique thing. He's saying, I'm going to win Fear Factor because I'm PC Pro. How that makes sense, I don't know, but good job, Gage, right? Good job, Gage. So the certifications are the true difference maker. As you can see in Gage's response, he was very confident and he was proud of what he'd accomplished. So it's the true difference maker for your student, for your program, and also for the industry. This presentation that we're going to be going over today, we're going to be obviously talking a lot about certifications. So for those of you that believe in certifications but don't have it in your program yet, this is a good presentation for you because we're going to talk about how we can help you. The second bullet point there talks about how maybe you see the value of it, but you're intimidated by the amount of effort that would go into putting it into your course, right? Sometimes it's a lot of work. I talk to a lot of different instructors that say, oh, I had intent to do that, but they haven't been able to get to it yet just because they believe that it has some effort involved in that. And then the last one, this presentation is for those of you that use certifications, have a passion for it, and we love to hear your perspective, your successes as we talk today.
So feel free to cut in and cut us off and correct us, because you are the experts.
Just out of curiosity to poll the audience, like how many people are using our ProCerts right now in your classes? Awesome. Who has hopes to do it soon? Or awesome. Okay, this is great. So there's a nice variety of different people in different stages with their ProCert, but this is what our topics will cover today.
So I've interviewed some instructors. I like to ask them how they use our certifications, how they find success getting their students jobs. And so I'm referencing a few people that are actually here today. Jed right here and Spencer back there. I'm going to quote them a few times in this presentation. Jed, his program, they work with a lot of students that are vocational rehab. So confidence and career changes, it's a big deal. And then Spencer, he's going up against the big bachelor's degrees. And so he's using certifications to really help their students stand out. And they're going after the same jobs that the 2-year schools are, but that the 4-year schools are.
And I think Spencer presented in the last session. So
Spencer did too, and Jed did too. So these guys are good.
Hopefully you didn't steal our thunder on this one. Okay.
And I also talked with Mark. Mark's not here for the conference, but he's in a K-12 area. So let's talk about the barriers to getting certified. I talked to customers that have used us. They've never used our certifications, or they tell me that, hey, I get 10 to 20% of my students go on to take an industry certification. What even is more peculiar to me is when they say, we pay for the voucher, but students still don't go take it. And it's like, what's going on here? And I think it's safe for us to say that students, they tend to want to take the path of least resistance, and if there's an easy way to get there, they're going to probably take that. CompTIA did a study, and they identified 3 things that are barriers for certification. 1 is cost, 2 is difficulty in taking the exam, and fear of failure is the 3rd. So for our presentation, we want to talk about 4 things that we believe can really help overcome those barriers. The first one is selling the certification. As instructors, if you believe in the certification and you're selling it to your students, you're the leader, you're the encourager, they're going to go for it.
And this isn't a monetary sell. This is a pitch, or getting them to buy into it.
Yeah. The second one is making our pro certification a required final. This is something that we really encourage you to do. The third one is focus on minimizing test anxiety. And then the 4th is let TestOut help you. Let Zach and implementation help you do the legwork, the busy work that helps you get your class built around certification. So let's talk about selling certification. You can show your students statistics. CompTIA, Certiport, Microsoft, they have some cool studies just about certification where they survey employers. I pulled these just yesterday, a study from Certiport and CompTIA. You can see 92% of employers think that students that have IT certification are going to get paid more. They play a key role in the hiring process. 85% think that they're more productive, require less supervision. There's also the Certification Magazine salary survey data. Our pro certifications, PC Pro, Network Pro, and Security Pro are on there now. And it's all around $50,000, and that's pretty good for an entry-level certification. You can show your students that, but even with the data that you show them, is that enough to get them motivated, right? But that stuff is there. If any one of you are interested in those studies, let me know. I can get those to you. You can show them the local job market. The easiest way to do that is go to Indeed. It's like a search engine for jobs, and just type in a certification. I did Utah Security Plus, and you can't really see it, but over 1,000 jobs came up when you search Security Plus, and that's just such an easy way to be like, hey, the jobs are out there.
And that,
right?
that is just in Utah, right?
That's just in Utah, but you can show by your area. The other thing is just the simple act of showing them how much certifications help a resume. If your student's trying to get into a job for the first time, this is a resume with no certifications on it. They've got some skills in IT, they've got a degree, but if you look at the comparison, you put certification at the very top, that's the very first thing that an employer sees. They tell you that it takes 6 seconds for someone to look at a resume, and you want that to be your attention getter. And it's like, okay, I have these skills, and that's gonna get them that leg up in getting considered for a job.
Real quick, one thing that I really like about this is you can also list the different objectives that are covered in the ProCert, right? And so the student can say, yeah, I have this certification, but I also know, like for PC Pro, I know hardware, I know software, I know mobile devices, different things like that, and it'll really stand out in a resume.
So I did a search on LinkedIn. This is something that I highly encourage you to use to show your students, encourage your students to get it. I use LinkedIn every single day. All of my network uses it. You can go to their search bar and you can search any certification, CompTIA, Microsoft, and then you can search ours. You can see here that over 6,000 results came from typing in Network Pro. You can go to the filter, search by school, search by state, by business. I'm picking Spencer's school. I can go here, apply, and I got 79 students that are listing our certifications on their resume. I click this guy, he's a systems admin, and you go down to the bottom and you have a licenses and certification section, and he's listed all of his pro certifications. And you can link to our page on our website, or you can even have them link from their LabSim account. They have a URL that's their certification, and anyone in their network, any employer can see that certification listed. Now, you need to explain the difference between our certification and the CompTIA, Cisco, Microsoft. They need to know the difference. I think all of you know the main differences. I don't think I need to go over this too much. The big thing with ours is employers really want to know that you have hands-on skills and that you can do the job. They're familiar with the CompTIA, Microsoft. Most of the time, they're not going to be familiar with our pro certifications. The students need to be able to go and interview and explain what it is. Something that's new for TestOut, has been a few years old, is the skills guarantee. This is something that they can go into an interview and say, hey, I have the skills, TestOut is backing it up with a skills guarantee. If you hire me and I don't have the skills, TestOut will pay you $1,000. That's basically 2 weeks of a $15 an hour job pay, or 3 weeks. So something pretty new that we're doing. I'd love feedback on that, if you have any. And then this is a great quote from Jed. Students are better prepared for the industry by using the ProCert than by just doing CompTIA. Both have their place. I think using both provides students with a better way and a unified picture of what they'll be doing in the industry. Emphasizing the importance of certification. Really, again, I said this before, when you emphasize the importance of certification to your students, that's really what's going to motivate them. You're the leader in your class, you're the encourager, you're the mentor, and they know that you believe in it, then they're going to believe in it. That's one of your best things you can do. Here's Spencer's quote. We push how important getting certified is to students. It's one thing to have a degree in IT, but when you go into that job interview, the company wants to know which certifications and hardcore knowledge you have, not just a generic IT degree from some college.
So we didn't actually plan a lot of time for this, but
yeah.
with everyone, a lot of you are using the certifications. I would love to see or hear of examples that you have as you have sold or got bought in from your customers. Does anyone, we would only take 1 or 2 examples, but Jim?
I have a group of students at a higher ed institution where I give them the opportunity to do the IT fundamental cert. We actually had 6 of our students cert out right on the spot using TestOut as the precursor software. So after going through TestOut, A+ program, this is the 900 series, I had them take the IT fundamentals cert exam, and of the 11 who took it, 5 passed. And fortunately, so did I. So I get to talk about it.
Awesome.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
We had, I think, sorry, I don't know your name. Yeah. Yeah, right here's good.
I'm selling the certification to my school, It's something new to my students. I started using it 2 years ago, but my chancellor and my new chancellor now really want my IT students to have certifications because that's what the 4-year schools are doing. I teach at a 2-year school. And by me selling the certification to them, it's going to make it easier for me to sell it to my students.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you. And then
Another one over here.
We have, I teach mostly networking, so we use Routing and Switching Pro and Network Pro. And it is a required final for my class. And we use it as the precursor to CCENT or CCNA. And of the kids that I had, 35 ended up taking at the end of the year, so that's who took the Network Pro and the Routing and Switching Pro, and 34 of them passed it. And that's partly because of the way that we, require, they know it's coming, they know the test is going to be simulations, do the labs, do the practices, and I think that's one of the key things that helps them feel more prepared and can be more successful that way.
awesome.
That's a perfect segue to our next spot.
Okay. Sorry.
We'll get back to you. When you do your first class orientation, when you go through your syllabus, your student is assessing how hard is this class going to be? What do I need to do to pass the final? What do I need to do to pass this class? And if you're doing all this stuff selling the certification, but then they're thinking, I'll get to that. Is it on the final? Is it required? They're really thinking, what is this on the final? You wish that the finals didn't matter, and they're just thinking, I just need to learn this stuff because I know it's going to be on the job. But students aren't looking that far ahead a lot of the time. So when you make it a required final, now it's like not about, okay, I gotta get certified because I want to. It's I gotta get certified because I have to. And it's a way that you can really put them on that path. When you make it a final, this is a really great way to help them build their confidence. I'm gonna quote Jed here. He says, when my students failed the CompTIA exams, it hurt them hard. Since the ProCerts are delivered in an environment that they're already familiar with, like she said, exams are not as stressful and really build their confidence. Being able to offer the pro exams has really helped them find that level of success that they have never experienced before. So when you use it as that final, you're literally building their confidence. Spencer says this, when I made the pro certifications required finals, the students took the classes and were getting certified more seriously. When I talked to him, he said, when we first heard about the pro certs, we made it an option, just like we made the CompTIA and Microsoft certifications an option. But it was so funny how the exact same thing, even if it was free, they didn't take it. But when I made it a final, they took it more seriously. Mark Brenner at Indio, he says, using the pro certs make it so my students are not just learning the materials just to learn it. They are getting certified, and the exams really help motivate them. So number 3, focus on minimizing test anxiety. We want this to be a final exam, but we don't want this to be that cliche, this is on the exam, this is crazy. We want to set that tone of, hey, you can get the grade that you want, right? Use the practice materials, prepare, you can get the grade that you want, right? And so something that Jed's program, again, he worked with a lot of guys that don't have a lot of confidence. And this is what he says, I believe we have such high rates of passing the ProCerts because 1, our courses are tailored around the exams, and 2, we focus on minimizing test anxiety. We help the students look forward to the test and not be afraid of it. They look at it as a final hands-on exercise, not as a nerve-wracking exam that tries to stump them. So something interesting about Jed is our average certification pass rate around the world is just over 70%. His is way higher. Over the last 5-6 years, he has had very many that don't pass on their first try. And it's because first he makes it a final, and second is because he focuses on just minimizing the anxiety. So now, Zach's going to talk to us about letting implementation help you tailor your course around certification.
These are the 4 topics that I'll be covering today, just the course mappings and course creation, right? Really what this is oftentimes I'll sit down and have a phone call with someone and we'll really dive in and understand your circumstances and then adapt to those. And I'll jump into that. Then practice material, that's been brought up. We'll talk about a little bit of LMS integration and how easy it can be to insert the ProCerts into your integration and make it easy for your students to take. And then just common questions that I've received as I've spoken with people. So this is kind of an interesting page here. As you can see on the right, these are actually all the different types of class schedules that I've seen while working at TestOut. I've dealt with people that are using 16-week, 12-week, even a 3-week boot camps. And so how do you take your cert and stick it into all these different class settings? It can be difficult, and it can be hard to get all that material into it. And so again, we'll sit down and we'll talk with you, understand what your objectives are, and then we'll see how we can adapt to that. These two charts here, these are just some interesting stats that I found. You know, if someone wants to focus on the CompTIA exam, then you can see that 94% of PC Pro maps to 100% of the objectives from CompTIA, right? So in essence, we're saying almost all of PC Pro maps to all of CompTIA. And so if you want to teach 80 hours of material from PC Pro and stick it in a 3-week course, that might be a little bit difficult. That might be hard. So an alternative would be with our PC Pro certification, 61% of the lab sim or the PC Pro material maps to 100% of the PC Pro certification. And so it's easier to stick that 61% of material into your 3-week course instead of 96% into there. And so what I'm saying by all this is that we'll sit down with you, let us help you, and we'll try and figure out the best solutions in how to get the material into your course so that you're hitting all the objectives, so that your students are well informed as they go and take that certification. The next thing here is just wanting to make sure that you're aware of all of the practice material that we have available for you. It was stated that we really highly suggest that you have your students take the practice material. I don't know if you're aware, but typically Appendix A will cover everything in the ProCert. Appendix B, sometimes Appendix C or D, will cover more on the industry certifications. And in those appendix, so for PC Pro, we have about 80 hours of material. And for the practice material in PC Pro, I think there's close to like 120 hours or something like that. There is a ton of material for practice. All the questions that are in the courseware are in that practice material. There's domain questions, there's a practice question at the end. And then one that I really like is I think it's usually like A.1 or B.1. It says like, here are some best practices for you as a student as you begin studying for this ProCert exam. And then, you know, an interesting fact that we talked to one of our statisticians, Dan, he's back here in the back. I guess he's a psychometrician, right?
He's psycho.
He's psycho.
He's psycho.
He pulled some data, and this is something that you all know, but it's still interesting that when students take a practice exam and score at least 80% or higher on that practice exam, on average, there will be a 25% increase on their pro certification, right? And that's one thing that I love about these pro certs is we actually have the data. With the industry certs, we don't have the data to analyze and see what's going on, but with the pro certs, we can see that, and it is very apparent that you know, practice exams are helping. I think Dan also made a statement that it had a very strong correlation, whatever that means as a psychometrician, my limited years of stats classes. And then the last thing is the custom exams. Who uses custom exams? Are there a lot of people here? Okay, so not as many as I thought would. Custom exams are awesome because they allow you to make your own questions, or actually, yeah, you can make your questions, and you can also take from our pool of questions, and you can incorporate those into your class. The practice questions are awesome for practice. The custom exams are awesome for assessment. As you use the custom exams, then you can go in and you can see, oh, hey, my students are struggling in the hardware section, or hey, my students are struggling in the software section. The custom exams are really good for that type of assessment. We really highly recommend using those.
And he can help you set it up. He'll do the hard part for you.
I'll do the hard part. I think he said the busy work earlier, but it's good. And you know, I do it on a daily basis, so I can do things a little bit quicker than some, just because I do it often. The next topic is LMS integration. Again, out of curiosity, who's integrated so far? A small handful. So this is actually where I spend the majority of my time, is with integration. We integrate with D2L or Brightspace, Canvas, Blackboard, Moodle, and Schoology. What this integration entails, I guess each of these is a little bit different. Our premier integration is actually probably with Canvas, though Brightspace and Blackboard are very close behind that. What we can do is we can create links inside your LMS, and we can your students can click on those links and have the ProCerts immediately. And so all you have to do as a teacher is turn on that exam at the end of the semester, and you can be up and running very quickly. One thing that I really like about Canvas is, and you may be able to do this in the other ones, but in Canvas you can go in and you can actually set prerequisites. And so you can say, students, when you take the practice questions as your prerequisite, then your final exam will open up. So it kind of forces them to, or it makes it that required topic of this is available after you take the practice exams. So our LMS integration is continually improving it. We've made some big leaps and bounds in the last few years. Common questions that I find, and really this is stemming from that comment I made earlier, that oftentimes I'll be on the phone call with someone and ask them, do you use our ProCert? And they say, well, I have intent to. I mean to do it, but I haven't done it quite yet. So then we'll talk about, well, why aren't you? What things are you wondering about? And you know, the very first one is, what is the standard format, or what do the ProCerts even look like? A lot of you are using them, so you're familiar with this. But this is on our webpage. You can see for PC Pro that there are 14 questions, there's 50 tasks, 120-minute time limit. The range is between 200 and 2,000, and the passing score is 1420. You know, after I share that with someone, like, oh yeah, this is mapped just like any other sort of certification. So it's a nice comfort there. Then you have the skills assessed, and then down here at the bottom, on our website, if you click on the view exam objectives, you can select that and you can see those objectives. And those are the same things that your students can put on those resumes that Dave talked about earlier. Scheduling exams, nope, yes. Okay, scheduling exams. I talked about LMS integration, very easy, especially if you're a whiz at your LMS. Create a link, click on it, and they're good to go. And then also you can go into LabSim and you can go into the certification schedules and schedule it per student. So there's multiple options there. The last two I'm going to go through quickly. Proctoring. Everyone always brings up proctoring. How do we do it? There's actually two ways. One, not to proctor. We don't require a proctor. And the other way is we have a proctoring agreement that you can talk to your TestOut representative. We can turn it on for you. Essentially, it just says this is how we believe it should be proctored, but it's really up to you. Some schools require it, so that's why we have it. And then the last thing, retakes, right? I think this comes up with almost everyone. How do our students retake in case they fail? The thing that I love about our ProCerts in general, like Dave said, the cost is always a problem for students. So we have that one free voucher, and then we have the $39 for a retake, and you just go in and purchase a new voucher. You know, when you compare that to some of your industry prices, that blows that out of the water and makes it very financially sound for your students. So our next one is it's a video about a guy that, actually, maybe, do we just want to play it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Got a quick question first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you looking at all at putting time limits on the pro exam so that they have to recertify at some point?
Like an expiration or a,
Correct.
yeah. You know, that's something that we talk about. People bring it up sometimes. A lot of times the reasons that the other guys do it is because they have to get accredited. And I think they're doing it sometimes because they want more money, right? We've basically kind of said, hey, if your students, let's say they took it 5 years ago and they go to a job and the company's asking, when did you get this, whatever, call us back up and we'll let you take it again. We know that at that moment when they take it, it's current. They can get a job right now. If they take it later, call us up and let's take it again. That's kind of, we don't have an official thing for that. Go ahead.
I was wondering if you could give a little bit about the LMS integration, what are the advantages for instructors and students?
Yeah.
And particularly, like, I've ended up seeing as they bring new instructors on, that there's a little bit of slippage there, or getting them started, doing the one-on-one training that TestOut does with them. As long as they do that, they usually catch up pretty quick. But sometimes that doesn't happen because our chair adds an instructor like at the last minute.
Yeah.
Yep. So, our LabSim platform is very well built, and it's great. You get Stevie's training, and you become a pro in 30 minutes to an hour, right? Stevie's awesome. But the biggest advantage that I see people coming and asking about LMS integration is that they want to live in one environment. They want to live in Canvas. They want to live in Brightspace or Blackboard, and that way the student will go into LabSim, do the content, not even need to go to the home page, to be honest with you, and then the grades will be passed back to their LMS, and it's very smooth and easy for the instructors. So living in one environment is the answer, I believe.
Look here.
I was mentioning this to Steve Eller earlier, but some of us, I know we do, the A+ class is broken down into 2 separate classes, so like 901, 902, Core 1, Core 2. Is there any plans to mark things so that, like Chapter 1, it tells you which modules are geared towards which test? Because I'm manually having to go look through, okay, I think this section applies to this class, and assigning the assignments based on that, but it would be helpful if there was a mapping.
So we do have that in the appendix. So if you go to appendix
It's
B.
in the teaching resources.
Is it in teaching resources? Teaching resources, you can see by objective which section covers which. I think visually on our new LabSim 6 and future, we'd like to be able to show it fit quicker, like, hey, this is on the exam. Like, that's something we're wanting to do.
Like
So I've done this, and so give us a call. I think that was actually the motto of my number 4 was, hey, give us a call. We have a team here. We've done this. We've worked with
He's
a
got
lot of
maps
people.
already too.
I've worked with dozens of people that have asked that exact same question, and then I have my recommendations on how I would go about it. But
the really cool thing is he can not only map it to the certification, he can build it for you in your LMS, and he'll do that for you. So it's pretty cool service. Yeah, go ahead. Back ahead.
You were talking about pros and cons for the integration. We found, or at least I found, that the pro is that I don't have to worry about downloading grades, putting them into Canvas, making sure that the download and the upload go correctly. The con, at least for me, was the number of links, if you want to link every single lab exam, etc. And so got around that by just doing sections or chapters.
Okay.
That adds the idea that when they link to the chapter, the first one they link to will get automatically uploaded or linked. But that just means that about every 3 to 4 days I trigger a manual update.
Right.
And then that populates everything they've done as well.
Yeah.
And that saves a lot of time from when I had to download into Excel and massage and combine and upload. So the integration is much easier to work with.
Good. Thank you.
Awesome. So we want to show you this funny video. This is from one of our customers in Jamaica. School. It's from a student. It's kind of hard to understand him, but we want to show you this real quick.
It's not as bad as the first video, I promise.
You can hear a little bit.
Well, I know this is not an Arsenal thing, but I want to share this with you. And so I go on out here in the world, you know. Yesterday, March 29th, I complete, one aspect of my IT license. Now I am fully certified as a PC Pro by TestOut. And I find it to be a very awesome program. There's no other word to describe it but awesome.
We're pretty much done with our presentation, but with this new implementation team that we have, and you guys really know the best ways to do this. I referenced a few instructors. We want to know more, but we have in the back we call it the Playbook, and it's our first iteration of it, but it's just something that we can share with teachers that this is how you can use LabSim in your program. So you can get one of those in the back at the end. But before we end, I want everyone to do this little activity with me, okay? I want you to repeat after me. Say your name. I state your name. I commit to either continue to or to focus on certification in my program. What I said. Because certification is awesome. Because Zach and Dave said so. And because it makes a difference in people's lives. Okay, any other questions? We got a few more minutes. This is open. Yeah.
We do standards-based grading in our school. And is there a way, well, we use a program called Standard Score, if you've heard of it or not. We grade 4 to 0, 4 being the highest. For TestOut to convert those to those numbers, and would there be a way to import the standards that go along with that, say, assignment into our LMS? Because I spend a tremendous amount of time.
When we pass scores from LabSim into your environment, we pass it back as a percentage. And so, yes, it'll go into whatever, it'll be based out of 1 to 4. So I believe that would work for you, right? If it passed it back as a percentage rather than and it'll convert to your 1 to 4 standard.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, when you import the assignments initially, it'll assign them a point value.
Talk to Jed. He just said you can do it.
Yeah. It'll assign a point value automatically, and then you just go in and change those to your 1 to 4 points. So. Yeah.
So I was also a little bit surprised to see how few people were using the custom exams. I wanted to just kind of plug those. One of the values that I found is, we of course let the students take the practice quizzes and do the labs over and over and over again, until they get it right. So that's all fine and good, but from an assessment perspective, it's helpful to have those custom exams, and we'll put 3 or 4 throughout the semester, plus we also use the final as the certification exam. But the custom exams we kind of use as that you only get one shot at these, so don't mess it up kind of a thing, right? In other words,
so it's graded, it's kind of higher
exactly,
level.
it's a way for us to assess throughout the semester before we get to the
So do
final.
you do like a midterm and then kind of a...
We'll do usually probably about 3 custom exams throughout the semester, and then the final exam is the 4th. And of course the certification exam. We weigh, as far as the grading goes, we'll weigh the final just the same weight as the other 3 custom exams, so that it's 25%, 25, all 4 exams are weighed the same. So we don't want to destroy them if they don't quite pass the certification exam. They can still pass the class just fine. But I just wanted to plug the custom exams are very helpful, because I can find out within like the third week when they take that custom exam, because even if they've got 100% on all the labs and all the quizzes, I mean, they can take those 100 times, so they're gonna get 100% on those. But when they take that first custom exam and all of a sudden realize, well, maybe I didn't study as well as I thought I did, it kind of, it's just a way to assess them, you know.
And rather than saying, hey, procrastinate till the end, it
correct,
keeps them.
Because that's another reason we do that is because because you'll always get those kids that will wait till the last 3 weeks of school and try to cram everything in the last 3 weeks. So by kind of using those custom exams, it helps kind of monitor and control that flow a little bit. Plus, it helps me identify sooner those kids who are struggling a little bit, right? And so, anyway, that's really good for the custom exams. I think they're wonderful.
Great, thank you.
I've used the custom exams as well, and I put a time frame on it, and if they don't do it by the time frame, they're SOL. And the students...
So you do that too, Spencer? Time frame? Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a due date, and I have some that will wait until like the last 2 days to get all of everything, you know, the projects and the labs and everything done before they do that custom exam. And it shows on their custom exam that they waited until that last minute to do everything. And so I need to get them to do it sooner.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really like about custom exams is you can create it based on a chapter or even a domain. And so you can really emphasize a certain topic if that's what you're trying to gauge. Jim?
I have a question for everyone who uses custom exams. How do you reconcile what you're giving them in the way of assignments with what you put in the custom exam? One of the most difficult things for me to do is even using TestOut's midterm and final, so to speak, the B and C series. I have to be able to say, all right, I've shown these students this material with these exercises, these labs, these videos. I've had students come to me and say, you tested me on something that wasn't in the assignments that you gave me. Now that may not have been a correct statement, but it does beg the question, how do you reconcile what you show them versus what you test them on? What is your method for doing that?
Spencer, he's raising his hand. Yeah.
So that's a great question, and yes, we kind of struggled with that initially at first. The way we deal with that, I mean, the custom exam, everything that is done in all the videos, the labs, and the quizzes is, you know, if they've done all their homework, basically, they will have covered everything. So as we're building the custom exams, we just make sure, so we break it down, you know, by week and by, you know, chapters. And so like maybe the first week we'll hit chapters 1 and part of chapter 2. The next week we might hit chapter 3, etc. So the first custom exam clearly is only going to cover that material that we have required of them to finish within TestOut. We use the TestOut as the homework. So that's the stuff they have to be doing on their own time anyway. So if they've done all their homework, they will have seen or viewed or practiced on that stuff.
So are you saying that if you give them labs and exams and practice questions in weeks, say, 1 through 4, the only thing that's going to be in your custom exam pool is what you gave them?
That is correct, because I'm building the exam and I just pull from those sections that I've asked them to use. So, because if you've ever, when you go in and build your custom exam, it's broken down in the same chapter format as the course itself. So if I'm holding them to sections 1, 2, and 3 for that first exam, I simply build a custom exam using any and all questions, whatever ones I pick, out of sections 1, 2, and 3. And so I build a custom exam based on what they should have done already for their homework.
So your question is going to be based upon the assignment 3.3.1.
Correct.
And that's the one we're going to...
Correct. Right, because they should have done 3.3.1 within those first 3 weeks. And so...
I'm trying to reconcile that with the high-end series TestOut midterm and final that they offer with A+ and N+. And I'm trying to make sure that I reconcile things I've shown them with things I'm looking for cognitive understanding of.
So I think I'm a little more lazy than you. I'm simply saying, hey, we've covered chapter 3, so all's fair. So if you didn't do chapter 3, it's on you. Yeah. So.
Okay, I know that we're actually at our time limit. If you have questions, Dave and I will, do you want to be out here?
Yeah, and I know a lot of this was not new for a lot of you, but we really appreciate you. And come talk to us, help us know what else we can do.
Thank you.